An original fictional story inspired by the power of kindness, forgiveness, and second chances. There are some knocks at the door that sound ordinary. And then there are the ones that quietly change your life. The knock came just after 6 on a rainy Thursday evening. I wasn't expecting anyone. Most people who knew me sent a text first. My neighbors had long since learned that I preferred fixing old furniture in my garage over small talk on the porch. When I opened the front door, I froze. Standing there, soaked from the rain, was Emily. Not my ex-wife. Her younger sister. She held the handle of a worn silver suitcase with one hand while the other clutched a small canvas backpack. Her mascara had long since surrendered to the weather, and her normally confident smile had disappeared. She looked exhausted. "I know this is strange," she said quietly. Then her voice cracked. "My engagement ended yesterday." She hesitated before adding the sentence that stayed with me for years. "I have nowhere left to go." 3 years earlier, my divorce from my ex-wife, Lauren, had been finalized after almost 11 years of marriage. There hadn't been screaming. There hadn't been betrayal. Sometimes people simply grow into different versions of themselves. Lauren accepted a promotion in Seattle. I couldn't imagine leaving the woodworking business my late father had built in Asheville, North Carolina. We tried long distance. Then counseling. Then one painful conversation after another until we finally admitted something neither of us wanted to hear. Love wasn't enough anymore. Our divorce was respectful but emotionally draining. Afterward, I slowly rebuilt my life. I renovated my little farmhouse outside town. Expanded the workshop. Started teaching free Saturday woodworking classes for teenagers. Life wasn't exciting. But it was peaceful. The one person from Lauren's family who occasionally stayed in touch was Emily. She'd send Christmas cards. Sometimes pictures of her rescue dog, Pepper. Every now and then she'd ask how the woodworking classes were going. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing complicated. Just simple kindness. So seeing her standing on my porch with tears in her eyes felt surreal. "I'll only stay one night," she said quickly. "I just need to figure things out." I stepped aside without thinking. "You don't have to stand in the rain." Emily barely spoke that first evening. She took the guest room upstairs. I heated leftover vegetable soup while she showered. When she finally came downstairs wearing borrowed sweatpants and one of my old college hoodies, she looked 10 years younger. Almost relieved. We ate quietly. Eventually she sighed. I found out Ryan had been hiding thousands of dollars in debt. She stared into the soup. He wasn't cheating. She paused. I almost wish he had been. I looked confused. She smiled sadly. Cheating would have hurt less than realizing I didn't actually know the person I was planning to marry. I nodded. Sometimes broken trust leaves bruises nobody else can see. The next morning she insisted on helping around the house. She swept the porch. Organized kitchen cabinets. Even repaired a loose cabinet hinge before I noticed. "You don't have to earn your stay," I told her. "I know." She smiled. "But helping makes me feel useful." Over the next week, something unexpected happened. She stayed. Not because I asked. Because she genuinely had nowhere else. Her apartment lease had ended after she'd planned to move into Ryan's house. Most of her savings had gone toward wedding deposits that couldn't be refunded. Her parents were spending 2 months overseas volunteering with a marine conservation program. She refused to interrupt their trip. "I'll figure it out," she kept saying. One Saturday, I invited her to watch one of my woodworking classes. She sat quietly in the back. About halfway through, one teenager named Marcus became frustrated while trying to build a simple bookshelf. "I can't do this," he muttered. Emily walked over. She didn't grab the tools. She didn't correct him. Instead she asked, "What's the hardest part?" He pointed at the crooked measurements. She nodded thoughtfully. "So let's fix one measurement. Just one." 10 minutes later, Marcus was smiling again. "After class, I laughed. You've got teacher instincts." She shrugged. "I used to tutor middle school kids." "Why'd you stop?" "My marketing job paid more." She looked around the workshop. "I forgot how much I missed helping people." The following week, Emily started volunteering every Saturday. Soon parents requested that she help their kids specifically. She had patience, encouragement, an incredible ability to notice when someone felt invisible. One afternoon I watched her kneel beside a shy 12-year-old girl named Ava. Ava whispered, "I mess everything up." Emily smiled warmly. "You know something?" "What?" "The strongest furniture usually has a few knots in the wood." Ava frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means imperfections don't make something worthless." She gently touched the unfinished pine board. "They make it unique." I don't know whether Ava remembered that conversation. I know I did. Months passed. Emily found part-time work designing social media campaigns for local businesses. She rented a small apartment across town. Yet every Saturday morning she still showed up at the workshop. Not because she needed somewhere to be. Because she discovered somewhere she belonged. Then came an unexpected phone call. Lauren. My ex-wife. We hadn't spoken in nearly a year. "Can we talk?" she asked. She sounded nervous. We met at a coffee shop the following afternoon. She smiled politely. "You look happy." "I am." She stirred her coffee before speaking again. "Emily told me everything." I waited. Instead of looking angry, Lauren looked grateful. "Thank you." "For what?" "For reminding my little sister that one bad chapter doesn't define her whole story." I blinked. She laughed softly. "You know, after the engagement ended, I was terrified she'd stop believing in people." I smiled. "She did the hard work herself." Lauren nodded. "Maybe." She stood. "But sometimes people only find the strength to rebuild because someone gave them a safe place to start." That conversation stayed with me. Because I realized kindness often works quietly. It doesn't demand recognition. It doesn't ask for applause. It simply creates space where healing becomes possible. One crisp autumn morning, Emily arrived carrying several folders. "I have an idea." She spread papers across the workshop table. "What if we create a community mentorship program?" I raised an eyebrow. "For teenagers?" "And adults." She pointed excitedly. "People changing careers. Recently divorced. Retirees. Veterans. Anyone trying to rebuild confidence through learning practical skills." I studied the proposal. Budget estimates. Volunteer schedules. Partnership ideas with local schools. She'd spent weeks preparing it. "You've been busy." She grinned. I finally remembered who I am. The program launched the following spring. None of us expected much. Maybe 15 participants. Instead, nearly 60 people signed up. A retired accountant learned woodworking after losing his wife. A single mother discovered she loved furniture restoration. A college student struggling with anxiety built his first dining table. People weren't just making furniture. They were rebuilding themselves. Near the end of the first year, we hosted an open house. Families wandered through displays of handcrafted benches, tables, birdhouses, and bookshelves. Laughter echoed through the workshop. Children proudly showed parents projects they'd completed. Then Marcus, the teenager who once wanted to quit after one crooked measurement, walked onto the small stage. He cleared his throat. "I just wanted to say something." The room became quiet. "When I first came here." He glanced toward Emily. "I thought failing meant I wasn't good enough." His voice shook slightly. "But Miss Emily told me something I'll never forget." He smiled. "Imperfections don't make something worthless." He looked around the room. "I think that's true for people too." There wasn't a dry eye in the audience, including mine. After everyone left that evening, Emily and I sat on the workshop steps watching the sunset paint the mountains orange. "Funny," she said. "What?" "I thought losing my engagement was the worst thing that ever happened." She looked toward the workshop. "Turns out it pushed me toward the life I was actually meant to live." I laughed softly. "Life has strange timing." "It really does." She smiled. "And thank you." "You've thanked me enough." "No." She shook her head. "I thanked you for opening your door." She looked directly at me. "But tonight, I'm thanking you for never making me feel like I was a burden." I didn't know what to say. Because the truth was, she had never been one. Not for a single day. Years later, people often asked how our community workshop became one of the most beloved volunteer programs in the county. They expected some brilliant business strategy, some fundraising secret, some perfect plan. The real answer was much simpler. It began with a rainy evening. A tired woman. One old suitcase. And 5 words spoken through tears. "I have nowhere left to go." Sometimes kindness doesn't arrive as a grand gesture. Sometimes it begins with opening a door, offering a warm meal, listening without judgment, believing in someone before they can believe in themselves. None of us can fix every broken heart. We can't erase disappointment. We can't rewrite painful chapters. But we can become the safe place where someone gathers the courage to write the next one. Because home isn't always the place where your story begins. Sometimes, it's the place where someone gives you permission to begin again.